YouTube. I am Rob, the creator of the Lair of OmnusI YouTube channel, frequently going as OmnusI. But in this case, I'm kind of making a meta video. Usually my videos are very much about gaming and especially the role-playing hobby, but in this case it's kind of, well, I think it's something of my responsibility to put forth a video related to the topic at hand that is rocking YouTube, and that is, quite simply, the fact that the rules may be changing very much for YouTube and how we go forward. And a lot of this stems from, of course, YouTube and its parent company Google being found in violation of COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. First enacted in 1998. It has since been renewed, most recently in 2013. Every 10 years they're supposed to look at it, but they jumped ahead in 2013. And there were a number of things that caused this, mostly parental lashback because of some, well, violations, to be honest here. YouTube in general has deflected a lot of it until recently, when their, again, parent company Google was forced to pay $170 million in a fine to the FTC, the Federal or Financial Trade Commission? At any rate, big scary acronyms, big scary things going forward. And if you just honestly put in COPPA, C-O-P-P-A, in your search bar, and you're going to find a lot of videos, possibly including this one, but a lot of bigger channels than mine, certainly, and a lot of fear, panic, and anger. And you might be interested in the off chance that you care about my channel and care about what we do here. And I say we as in the greater community of YouTube, of which I'm just a tiny little bit, but still. How are we kind of going to deal with things going forward? For those of you who don't know, and again, don't want to take the time to go and check out those other videos that I was talking about, basically, how it's going is YouTube has gone on a spate of labeling videos as for kids. Most of these are videos that are clearly designed with a children's audience in mind. And one of the fun things about being for kids, and by the way, anybody who puts up a video, YouTube asks them, is this video for kids? And all of the times that I've been asked that for uploading videos, I've responded, no, my videos are not for kids, which I'll clarify in a second. But YouTube has brought it upon themselves, plugging in their algorithm and labeling a bunch of channels and a bunch of videos as for kids, which the creators can contest. They can appeal to YouTube saying, my video is not for kids. Why would they do that? What's wrong with being for kids? The biggest thing as far as I'm concerned is it cuts off comments. Apparently in a lot of these videos, the kind of people you don't want commenting on a kid's channel did. This includes pedophiles, this includes predatory marketing, this includes a lot of things. And, if your kid's watching, baby sharks, you kind of want them in an isolated, insulated bubble. You don't want all of the worst of YouTube to be able to have access to their impressionable, minds. So they can enjoy their baby sharks. You're hearing it in your head already, I know. But and I personally, as a parent, I am sympathetic towards that. I wouldn't want my son ruthlessly advertised to, because kids can't separate advertising from somebody who's telling somebody a fact. Advertisements are full of manipulation, ways of fostering a need on a person who watches them and consumes them. And kids are very susceptible to things like that. I'm not just making things up here. There's, ample amounts of evidence, and if you know kids, you know that they're a little storehouse of everything that's been bombarded upon them. That's why they want the latest trends, they want the latest toys and everything, and it's so easy to market to them, and always has been. But in 1998, the FTC said it is unlawful for marketing to directly target and pull information out of children under the age of 13. And I agree. I don't have a problem with COPPA. What I have a problem with is its implementation. Now, for the most part, YouTube has always gone on and said, well, we don't market to kids. We have YouTube Kids, which does not have that kind of advertising. And for a while, they were fine until they, got so big and the children's market was so vast that it was unescapable that they're clearly a place where children go for entertainment. Many of these places being advertised, because if you are for kids, you cannot receive targeted advertising, which means they can't look at your information and then pump the advertisement that appeals most strongly to you. They can't do that to children, so that YouTube Kids is safe from that. But if you're on mom and dad's account, or they gave you an account and said that you're 13 and have all of your rights, you are just as prone as any of us adults who are tired of seeing the same ads again and again because they're targeting you. They want to send you the content that's supposed to appeal the most to you to generate their sales for their advertisers. That's how the money flows in YouTube. More importantly to the content creators, it's how they make money. If you cut off the targeted advertising for a site, according to the numbers I've been quoted, you can lose up to 90% of your ad revenue. Which means professional YouTubers who are all of a sudden going to have to list their stuff as being for kids could lose 90% of your ad revenue, and most people can't afford 90% of a loss. Now, do I think it's that extreme? I really don't know. I don't clearly monetize my videos. Why? Well, my channel's too small. For one thing, YouTube doesn't allow monetization until you get over 1,000 views, which I don't. I'm not even close. So you might think that kind of gets me out of the woods. But according to the broadest stroke brush of COPPA, technically, anyone who talks about subject material or has subject material that's designed to appeal to kids could possibly be in violation of COPPA. In this case, exercising the COPPA jurisdiction over not YouTube, but the content creators. They've actually said there's a guy in a stuffed suit with a very mean-looking face, looking like he can't wait to go after us content creators, saying they have the tools to plow into 23 million videos, which there's a lot more than that on YouTube, and start going after individual creators for violating COPPA. And now, what kind of things does the Lair of OmnusI talk about that could possibly violate COPPA? If you're familiar with my channel, I don't swear. I don't show cartoons. I get into costume from time to time. I talk about games, board games, card games, role-playing games. And, I give straight talk about gaming. I'm trying to make it appealing, and I try to talk to people as intelligent folk who might appreciate a little bit of different perspective on games to make it more appealing, to get people to get into the hobby, to like it. So how could I possibly violate COPPA? Well, in the broadest strokes again, one of the subjects that children find interesting are games. Fancy that. Or video games, of which I've uploaded a few to my YouTube channel. They started on Twitch, but nobody watched me on Twitch, so I uploaded them to YouTube and put them in. Technically, I don't really see how those would appeal to 12-year-olds. One of them was Warlock, which is a fun strategy game. And again, I don't curse or anything, so it's not inappropriate for kids. And I think the other one was, I think I uploaded the Evil Genius game, which has nothing that really would be objectionable. It's just talking about bad people doing bad things, but there's no graphic, anything. But that isn't really the point. My cursing or not cursing, or the types of games that I play, may have nothing to do with it if the FTC decides in its broadest strokes to exercise COPPA jurisdiction on my channel. Technically, it's possible. So, what can be done? Number one, I could go through all my videos where I talk about games at all and flick them all for kids. I'm not going to do that. Why? Well, first of all, I am here largely to try to generate conversation. My channel is an open invitation for all of you to spark conversation. By linking in the comments, you can talk to me and tell me if you thought a video wasn't good, what I could improve, something I overlooked, or, you know, hey, the odd attaboy. I agree. This has been my experience. That's the kind of things that I really long for with this channel. Doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it feels really good. And, you know, quite honestly, if I don't have that, about 80% of my purpose for putting up videos is gone. It's still a hobby, I still enjoy it, but without you, the contributors to, you know, the potential comments that could be out there, the upvotes, the downvotes, sure, but, you know, just being able to talk to an audience and get feedback from that audience is really the meat and potatoes of why I do this. Now, yes, I could say, okay, my link to my YouTube account, make sure that you comment on my Facebook page since you can't comment here. We could do that. But here's the thing, I know how comments work. If you get sufficiently riled up, you connect with something enough, you might upvote or downvote something. That's no investment. You just click and you're done. If you really connect, you really have something to say about something, you might leave a comment. If you really have something to say, you might click to open another window, click, enter in OmnusI if you don't have me favorited, enter in OmnusI, go and leave a comment on my Facebook page. That's not going to happen. That's so rarely going to happen. You would basically, the only way I get conversation on my Facebook page is when I link a video to there and I say, hey, what's up? And then maybe a couple of people will send a comment. But I don't think I've yet had a person go from YouTube to Facebook to leave a comment. Or if it happens, it's only once or twice. It's nothing consistent. And it's almost too much to ask. Sounds silly, I know. It's just click, 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 shh, do your thing. But it's important. And basically that's a major blow. The other thing that would really suck for me, again, like I said, no monetization, so I don't have a dog in that race. I'm not a career YouTuber, nor am I likely to be one. But you also will never show up on a suggested feed. For content suggested because of something that you were interested in, those can't be found randomly by the engine that YouTube runs. So I have no chance, next to no chance, of ever having that viral video that people go, hey, yeah, that's really good. No, that'll never happen. It can't happen if I go for kids. Now, I will continue to make content for everybody. Kids, you know, young adults, old folk. That's my thing. I don't have an age gate on my things. But I'm not for kids. I'm for everyone. And I'm going to stay for everyone. YouTube has a serious problem on their hands. They really do. And I'm not just talking about the $170 million sting they took. I'm talking about the fact that they are being bludgeoned by a law that has roots back in the past when the internet was just starting to crank up. When Google just started, this law came out. And they're getting bludgeoned by a law that was made by people who are out of touch, probably didn't even have a cell phone at the time, and tried to make some sort of overarching laws that made sense to them, but would not make any sense to anybody who knows anything about technology today. I've seen clips. I'm not going to repost them because lots of people are making these videos. But there's all kinds of clips saying the kind of things that can get you nailed according to COPPA. And this is taken right out of COPPA. When I heard about this, I went and I checked out and I read the actual law for it myself, and it's scary, certainly. Using words that kids find appealing, like cool. I say cool. Whatever. Duh. You know, things like that. Things that were really trippy back in 1998. Or maybe when they redid it in 2008 or what have you. But still, it's insane. It really is, because they stifle what you can say. They stifle the topics that you could talk about. And toys, snacks, and games are on that list. That's my hobby. Toys? Yeah, a lot of the props I can bring forth from this are toys. Legos and other things that I use for accessories are toys. Games, technically, almost all the things that I talk about in this channel are about games. So, here's the deal. If the FTC wants to go forward and they want to start bringing the hammer down, I volunteer my channel. Go ahead, FTC. You can review my channel. You can look at it. You can harumph, because I talk about games. Anybody who looks at my channel is going to know my channel isn't a danger to kids. Number one, there's no monetization. There's no advertising to risk, first of all. So I've got that umbrella. Second of all, I don't exploit kids. My stuff is not something that's harmful to kids. Therefore, I'm not violating anything. If for some reason I do that viral video and suddenly I find myself deliriously happy with 10,000 subscribers and I get advertising, and I still am not going to put my stuff as for kids, and say, you know, I get some advertising money, and then they take a look because now I'm worth it, meaning that there's a lot of people above me they're going to look at first. People like PewDiePie and whatever that thing is that does baby sharks or whatever. I'm sure that's huge. But yeah, they can look at me. Please, I volunteer. I'll be the first one on the docket. Look at my channel. Look at what I do. Now, am I injuring kids? Not at all. Any one of my videos you can put up and you're not going to see anything that's going to be offensive to kids. You'll find a lot of stuff that will bore children, sure. My demographic for children, I'm sure, is pretty low. Not because I'm insulting to them, not because I don't have bright colored graphics all over the place. I'm a guy with a beard sitting in front of a black background with a couple of things on a table behind me to elucidate my point or something. That's it. When I get dressed up in character, when I'm Lord Cadrian de Flynn, the wizard, they might find that funny. I hope so. I try to be entertaining and engaging when I do these things. Or when I was Lord Cadrian de Flynn. When I was Dirk Casterly. My jokes would gone over the head of kids who don't play these games, so no harm there. I'm not afraid of COPPA. I'm not afraid of the FTC, because unless things have gone completely insane, I'm of no interest to them. And therefore, I'm not changing what I do. I think that YouTube is dangerous because it relies almost exclusively on robots and algorithms to do their thing. And therefore, a lot of bad things happen when there's no humans at the wheel. I believe the FTC will have human oversight on everything. You don't just slap down what they said the worst case scenario is something like a $42,000 fine per video that is aimed at kids, that is not expressly labeled as such. Yeah, you can bring that. Number one, you can try to get $42,000 out of me, or you can look at all 300 plus of my videos and run up the total there. Number one, you won't get anything out of me. Number two, I'll stand in front of a jury or whatever it takes, a commission, and I'll plead my case. But it's not a problem of me. It's a problem YouTube certainly could help. So, YouTube is kind of trying to dance out of the way of this. They paid off their fine, and now they're just, what'll happen will happen. But here's the thing. Here's my solution, because I want to be proactive. Yes, I don't think it's that bad. Yes, I think the big time folks who make their living off of streaming video of video games and stuff, they have the most to worry about, certainly. Cutting their own throat with advertising by placing everything for kids because they're talking about video games. Even games that aren't specifically for kids, but are generally very popular with kids, like Minecraft and Fortnite. good luck, fellas. I wish you luck. Quite honestly, you had an easy source of income with those kind of things that appeal to everybody, and if you're getting caught, well, yeah, that's the risk. You might have to get a 9 to 5 again. Ooh. But for somebody like me, I'm not worried about it. But how can this be fixed? Number one, the FTC is opening up dialogue on this. And you have a certain amount of time to approach the FTC and tell them what you think of COPPA and how it could be enforced. Of course, if you just go in and like, F the FTC and blah, 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 and they'll just, okay, meant nothing, goes nowhere, does nothing. If you contact the FTC and say, well, this is, we don't want you to, destroy our favorite channels with a hammer when, we could work towards, getting a nuanced response that actually will solve the problems. Maybe, that might have a better effect. Truthfully, I am so disenchanted with almost all the government oversight from the corrupt FCC. Remember SOPA and PIPA not that long ago? Yeah. I have very little respect for most of those organizations in place. The FTC in this case is trying not to go after YouTubers. It's trying to deal with the advertising and targeting of kids, which I'm for. I actually don't have a problem with that, and generally the FTC in general. But if you don't want to see them bring down the hammer on your favorite YouTube channels, if you don't want to see change in a negative way affecting YouTube and rolling through it at whatever pace, probably a glacial pace, but still, contact the FTC. Again, if you go to those other websites, a number of them have direct links. It's not that hard to Google FTC COPPA. I believe it will take you, one of the first things on most search engines will take you right to a place where you can leave your side of the story. And I'm sure from the direction of all of these big channels, they're getting bombarded with a lot of useful to not very useful suggestions. By all means, go and add your voice to theirs. But it's also a good idea just to keep an eye on things, because the first big name that gets hit with this, it's going to leave a media shockwave. It's going to have a lot of YouTubers scared. Not me. I have, again, no real dog in the fight. But it will scare a lot of people. It also will be interesting to see how YouTube reacts. Because if YouTube becomes the place where people go to get smashed by the FTC, they're going to see the competitors get a surge. People are going to say, I'm not going to wait to be the next person. I'm going to go to Vimeo, or I'm going to go, wherever. And if that happens, it's only a matter of time before the FTC goes, okay, now who's going after the kids? It's going to happen. So what YouTube can do, though, to fix this is they need to fix their accounts, first of all. They need to know who is a minor and who is very minor, and make sure that they cannot access accounts that are not for kids. They tried to do that with YouTube Kids, but let's face it, most of those kids aren't on a kids account that can only see YouTube Kids. It's true. I'm just not believing that that's working very well. I think YouTube also needs to have a more nuanced response than for kids, adults. For kids and adults. It's not a line that needs to be as hard as it is. If you want, I'll volunteer to be the for anyone. There's a lot of forms of entertainment. Some of them have been very successful with self-policing. Video games put up the ESRB board. So, ESRB. We have mature, that kids absolutely should not be able to see. Cool. That works pretty well, I think. You have E for everyone. That would be the kids rating. But again, in my case, I want content that I can have comments from. So slapping that down, there needs to be a better option. The 4 kids getting yourself billions and billions of views because you're going to show Baby Shark with the Baby Shark having the Kardashians face on them or something like that. I don't know. Fine, do that. Have fun. But you're running a risk, and that's fine. But have something in between. Have something for something like my channels that are safe, that are for kids, but are also for adults. And, you know, we keep an eye on our comments boards, and I make sure that if anybody would put anything, you know, offensive or, you know, fishing for information or something, I'd smack that down. Oh, yes, if my channel got 25,000 subscribers and it filled up, you know, 600 comments on each of my videos, for instance, that would be amazing. But it would be a huge responsibility to go through and make sure that there aren't kids popping up saying, you know, I'm from elementary school, and then some guy going in and, oh, where's your address? There needs to be something to be done about this. This is a YouTube problem, yes. It's also eventually going to be an everybody problem. A sleeping giant has awoken. And there are going to be people who are going to have to deal with this. The people who are directly affected by this. But I'm willing to play the Russian roulette of sorts, because that chamber's got a lot of empty holes. And I'm just one tiny, tiny, tiny little fish in this ocean. So I'll be fine. You won't see any changes in the Lair of OmnusI. And if you do suddenly see a massive change, it's because the FTC took me up on my offer. And I will try to make something of it. I will, you know, hey, I could use the press. And quite honestly, I have a fair amount of scorn for the methods that are available. So I would like to take that on head on. But I'm so small, nobody's going to listen to me at this point. That's for the Matt Pats of the internet, or maybe PewDiePie if he decides to weigh in, or any of those folk. That's and they're probably the people who should be, because they should be the most worried that they're going to have their plug pulled. But I'm adding my voice to that and saying, hey, I hope it gets fixed. I really do. I like to be able to talk to all of you on YouTube. I like to be able to make videos and put them up. This is a thing that I've grown to enjoy. And I hope that you guys have been enjoying watching me and continue to do so. But if you want to make sure that all those other channels that might be affected are, you know, not unduly burdened by this, use the power of your voice. Go contact the FTC on their homepage. Tell them that you are not for wielding COPPA as a weapon against YouTube channels. Tell them to tell YouTube to make better nuanced changes. If they have to review everybody's account to make sure that everybody's an adult, and so that everybody falls under the minors, no minors thing, that should fix it. Because then any kids that are using their parents' account, or they're forging their account, which means they're in violation, and that's something YouTube can address. But sorry guys, I just can't be too worried about it. I'm not going to change what I do, nor am I going to have my things selected as for kids. It's for everyone, folks. Not just for kids. Not just for adults, certainly. I enjoy talking to the younger generation who will be coming forward and will be taking our mantle after we're gone. But am I going to change the way I do things? No. COPPA may affect me at some point, but I'm not going to spend my time worrying about it. I've got too much content to make. So if this is a rallying cry among the RPG community, you know, good. Like I said, there are RPG sites that do make pretty good money on the YouTube advertising. And I would hope that sites like Critical Role, or any of the numerous blog sites that have cobbled together 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 subscribers, or the really successful animation ones that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, yeah, you kind of need to say something too. Get your people fired up. And if it happens to come from hearing me say something like this, well, so be it. I'm fine with that. If not, and, you know, too much silence in the line, they take that as passive approval, who knows? It could be very, very, very scary for some people. but not for me. I'm fine. So bring it, FTC. I'm here. I'm not afraid of you. And I'm going to keep making videos for everyone that are safe for kids, but hopefully appealing to adults too. So I'm Rob. This is my channel, Lair of OmnusI. Come and join me. We have a lot of fun. And I will see you next time something like this happens and I crawl in front of the internet to make one of these videos. Thank you and farewell.